I'd like to say a vote for the Greens is not a vote for Labor, it's a vote for closing the gap between spin and action. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Sam Byrne.
We better get Brendan a Greens membership form. It's fantastic. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm the local candidate in this area, which is the border is just the King Street there, and anything to the west for quite a while. As Brendan said, it's very disappointing. We've got refugees being shipped overseas. We've got Howard-era policies on refugees. We've got no action on climate change. We've got disappointment is rife amongst across Australia with the ALP, and I urge you to consider voting Green on Saturday to help. And we've got a chance in this area to help bring some fairness, some decency, and some environmental action to this country. The Greens have got a great arts policy. I suggest you check it out. It's on the web. We want to get a discussion going about the copyright laws. We want to make sure that artistic endeavour, artistic action gets you the social security payments, that get you into that into that system, so you can be artists. We want to set up funds we want to set up a $5 million fund to support young and emerging artists in this country, and we know that artistic expression and cultural expression is a fundamental part of being an Australian, fundamental part of being a human, and it's central to our philosophy and what we want to see in this country. Have a great night. I think the exhibition's fantastic. I love the topic. I think that's what we've got in Australia at the moment. We've got policy being driven by polls in a few marginal seats. It means that we're getting what the big parties think that will get them a few votes in a few little seats is driving the policies that we have in this country. That sucks. We need world's best policy. We want world's best government. We want the best actions and the best things done in our country, not bullshit from a few marginal seats. Have a think about voting Green on Saturday, and we've got a chance in this local seat. We've got a chance in a few local seats. We've also got a big chance to get some more senators and get the balance of power in the Senate, where we can drive stuff even harder drive the Green agenda. Thanks very much. Quick apologies from Lee Rhiannon, who's our Senate candidate in New South Wales, and Tony Hickey, who's the candidate for Sydney, which is across the road. Both of them are flat out campaigning tonight. But I think it's a great exhibition, great topic, and thanks a lot for coming. Cheers.
Thank you very much. I too acknowledge that we're meeting tonight on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Pay my respects on your behalf to their elders past, present and future. I'm here tonight talking on behalf of Lee Rhiannon, who, as Sam said, can't be here, but sends her best wishes and says to you that her effort in campaigning in this election, and if she is elected, her commitment will be to make democracy not marginal, but to make democracy vibrant and alive again. You know, when you go to an art exhibition about democracy, it reminds you that in fact elections are a lot like art exhibitions. You go to an election, you go to an art exhibition, it's the same thing. You look around, you see some stuff and you think, God, that is really awful. And that's kind of like Tony Abbott, right? And you see other stuff and you think, oh, you know, it's pretty prosaic, I've seen it all before, doesn't mean terribly much. Well, that'd be the Labor Party. And every now and then there's something which strikes you. And it says, there's a piece there that strikes you, and it says, that is something that really does speak to who I am, what I want to be, what I want to have my life mean. And my first election with the Greens, which is a lot of elections ago, was a bit like that. I found the Greens and I saw in that election, this is back 1996, I saw a party that wasn't driven by marginal seats, that wasn't driven by polls, that wasn't driven by that which would sell nicely on the evening news, but was really concerned about what the future would be for Australia. Not just our economic future, but that's important. not just our environmental future, but that's crucial, but also our cultural future. Who we are as people, how we understand who we are, and how we understand where we're going from that. And when you find something like that, you just always wonder, why is it that we don't go further? Why is it that the Greens aren't in government? Well, I'm here to tell you that when I first joined the Greens, we were a 2% party. That is, 1 in 50 Australians voted for us. This election, I hope that we are about a 1 in 8 or a 1 in 7 party, that we have about 12% of Australians voting for us. Because if we get 1 in 12 Australians, or 1 in 12 people in New South Wales voting for us, we get a huge bonus. We get Lee Rhiannon elected to the Senate. And I can tell you that one of Lee's key focuses will be on making sure that never again are Aboriginal people confined to the margins of Australian politics. This has been an election campaign where the major parties have tested everything in the focus groups. This has been an election campaign where everything's been determined in the focus groups in half a dozen marginal seats. And then those focus groups, Aboriginal issues, the war in Afghanistan, the rights to people to marry no matter what their gender are, the rights of asylum seekers, the rights of those people who are born with disabilities, never showed up. It was lost. And so I got lost in the election. Well, I can tell you in 24 hours' time, if you go to the polling booth, there's one party there that will never let those people and those issues be lost ever again. And it's the Greens. And if you want to take democracy off the margin, if you want to take democracy into the mainstream, you'll join me and Sam in voting 1 for the Greens and making sure that we have a vibrant democracy that remembers why it's there. Not to serve big business, not to serve the marginal seats, but to serve all of us every way and to make sure that this is a fairer, more just and sustainable society. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, John, and thanks, Sam. I'd just like to make a few little more quick announcements before we hand over to the Academy of Emergency Arts Sydney and their crew that they've brought along tonight.